Microsoft PowerPoint 2007, adding content, clip art, and pictures. Now we're getting to the good stuff, right? We've seen tables and charts. Now you want to visually enhance your presentation with pictures that dazzle your audience and make them go, ooh, ah. Well, this is the right CBT nugget to be viewing because we're going to take a look at both clip art and pictures. Now, I know some of you might groan when you see the word clip art because, there has been a lot of cheesy clip art out there for a long time, and you'd much rather use a photo or something good. But you know what? There's some good clip art out there, and it is good just to kind of make a visual point. So we'll show you how to use the clip art organizer. We'll also talk about adding pictures from files, whether they're digital photos that you've taken of products or things like that, JPEGs, GIFs, bitmaps, PNG files, all those things you can add into your PowerPoint presentation. And then finally, if you have a whole slew or a whole bunch of pictures and you don't want to have to create insert picture, insert caption, create a new slide, insert picture, insert caption, guess what? Photo Album is going to help you out. So I'm sure you're all ready to get visual because let's face it, you're saying to me, Chris, that's why we're taking this video series, this CBT Nugget series, because we want to learn how to be better with our PowerPoint or how to use it. Okay, sounds good. Because we've already seen how if you just use text and bullet points, after a while, that just becomes monotonous. It really doesn't help communicate very well. I mean, don't get me wrong. Bullet points, text, they all have their place. And if done correctly, you can communicate. We've seen how we can use tables and charts to kind of communicate more business type orientated information and maybe show and visualize figures and facts and things like that. But when you get to clip art and pictures, that's where it really takes it to the next level. Now, I do want to give you a little warning right here at the beginning. Just understand, I could fill this whole entire screen with pictures and images and sound and video and movie clips and all those kind of things. But let me tell you something. After a while, you'll find that it just becomes so busy, people won't be paying attention to you speak. Instead, they'll just be kind of fascinated by what goes on the screen. So you want to use clip art and pictures sparingly. What that means is use them appropriately. Use it when you need it, not just to put a picture of, Bobo, your dog, up here just because, hey, there's a picture of a dog on the screen. Well, why is it there? It should have a purpose. One of the number one rules, and we'll talk about that in the CBT Nuggets when we talk about presentations, is that you want to make sure that it is appropriate and there's a purpose for why you have an image, a movie, a sound, or any of those extra bells and whistles on it. Okay? So, all right, enough of that. Here we got our Acme Musical Instruments Incorporated. I got my Vision for Tomorrow presentation. You've seen we've already added my table here. Come down here. I've already added my little chart here to show the instrument types by school. But if you notice on these slides, there's a couple where I go from a title slide to a bullet slide to another bullet slide to another bullet slide. You want to start adding a little bit more information. And look here, I've got marketing plans with local paper, radio, and television. I mean, this is a real small little slide. It doesn't really seem to have too much on it. Well, what if I add some visuals to kind of show a local paper, radio, and television? Well, to do that, one of the ways we can do it is with clip art. Now, the nice thing about clip art, in the old days, long before computers and everything else, people would go buy these clip art books, and they would cut out these drawings and put them on your letters and your ads. But today, it's really just a digital equivalent of what we used to do. Now, with Microsoft Office 2007, the nice thing is that all of this stuff is part of the clip art viewer. And this just comes standard. It's the Microsoft Clip Organizer is what it's called. So when I click on clip art, notice a little task pane comes up over here, and here is where we start organizing and finding all the clip art. Now, the good news is that there are no licensing restrictions. Anything that you find that's in the clip art on Office Online or included as part of your Office 2007 equipment is or software is all license free. You can use it until the cows come home, and you don't have to pay anybody for the rights to use it. Now, you have to be careful. Anything outside of this, like photos and everything else, you need to make sure you get the appropriate permission or make sure that it is in the public domain. So, what we're going to do is we can take this clip art, which by the way can be pasted into Word, Excel, even Outlook. You can use it if you're building your HTML files and things like that. But here Once I click on clip art, it brings up the clip art task pane and it says, all right, what do you want to find? Well, in my case, you can put in and you can say, well, I want to click, and the first thing is a local paper, right? So we want to look for a newspaper. So I'm going to type in newspaper. Now, it's going to say, do you want to search in where? Well, there's My Collections, there's the Office Collections, and then there's online web collections. You can select there, or you can say, you know, oh no, I don't want to select any of the Office Collection, so I can take that off, just deselect it. Or you can, go ahead and say, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and use the Office Collections. I mean, these are things that we can do, or click everywhere. You can also, of course, what type of media? Understand, under clip art, it will also find clip art, photographs, movies, and sound. So the media, this little Office clip art organizer, or art organizer, can find these too. Well, I just want to find, we'll talk about pictures here in just a minute, but I'm going to just go ahead with clip art. So I can pick up all of the clip art. So okay, that sounds good. So I'm only doing clip art, and now all I need to do is go ahead and click go, and it goes through and it searches my hard drive, and it searches, if you have the online, it'll go online and look at the online libraries and try to find clip art under these media file types, which is just the GIF files, your WMF files, your Windows media file, that's what that means, and find one for a newspaper. So now I just scroll down, and you can see you got people here. You got, it looks like somebody from the Middle East, Arabs and business people reading the paper. You got different, there's some people reading the newspaper, and, you can just click down here and find all kinds of different things. Now, I like this one. Kind of. It's a nice black and white, got a little color, and all you need to do is you select it. Now, if you click the down arrow, it's going to say, what do you want to do? Do you want to insert this into the slide that you have? Do you want to copy it and use it maybe somewhere else? Do you want to make this available offline? Now understand that this is from the Office, so obviously if it says make available offline, that means that this is on the web. It is one of your Office Online pieces of clip art, and so if you're not plugged in, if this is maybe a laptop, and you want to use this again, you want to make this available offline, it will then download it into your collection. You can edit the keywords on it, you can preview the properties and everything else. Or, if I click off of this, if I just click here on it, just once, it automatically inserts it right there, just plops it in the center of my slide. So great, now I've got my news. Just like any other object, and we'll talk a little bit more about formatting any of your objects here, you notice as soon as I've inserted it, it creates it as a picture and a picture tool. And so you can use the format that's here. You can brighten it, you can use contrast, you can compress it, you can change it out, you can reset it. You can even add backgrounds, simple frame white. You can add a beveled matte. You can add a little metal frame around it if you want. These are just options that you have. Many different options here. You can some people like to add just kind of a black shadowed background. You can do that. This has got a reflected rectangle. You saw it reflects down there. So you got a little bit extra bells and whistles now with your clip art and your photos in Office 2007, in this case PowerPoint 2007, than you did in even 2003. So you got some really cool features here. You can add picture effects here, shadows, reflection, glows around it. You can add an accent color glow around it. You can see as I move using that instant preview how that all works. Now, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. How we can use the different effects. This one's kind of cool. It's got a accent color here, and so I'll go ahead and select that, and so it's kind of got a glow around it. You can even maneuver it and place it, so we'll place it down over here. Here's my news. That's my first one. We'll put it right there. And then now let's say we wanted to find radio. Well, you guys I think have figured it out. I just come over here, highlight that with my mouse, type in radio, and click go. Go on out and say, all right, you're looking for a radio, right? So now we can scroll down here and find a radio. It's kind of funny. That's actually a Linksys or wireless router, but it uses a radio, so it's got that in there too. So your keywords can bring up a lot of different clip art here, so you kind of have to sometimes just kind of spend some time scrolling. I mean, do you want G.I. Joe here with their radio on their pack or something like that? You can do it as well. So you got some choices that you can go through from here. So we'll go ahead and scroll down here, and what I like to do, and I mean, I'm not a graphic designer, but I usually try to find something with the same look and feel if I'm going to have it on the same page. So right now I'm just scrolling through and finding appropriate clip art for the radios. I mean, it can be a whole bunch of different ones. Now that one looks kind of cool. That looks it's got that black and white kind of feel to it. So we'll go ahead and click on it, and it'll say, all right, there is your radio that you have right here. So I can bring this down, and of course I might want to add the same effect because I got that glow effect. So I can do a picture effects. I go to a glow, and I do believe we use that one, so you can use that effect right there. Or if at any point in time you can say, well, that one's a good one, but maybe I want a different one. Well, of course, you can just come down here and keep scrolling and finding the one that you want to use in any situation. So you can pick one that's like down here. You can say, I want this one instead, so I can select on this one, and that way you can use whatever you want. So there you go. Now click that one. That was big. I can delete this one. That one's kind of looks a little bit better. But now look at this one. This one, the size is huge here. Let me go ahead and bring it down here. And I clicked it a couple of times, so I had a couple extra there. So now I go ahead and I scroll it down here, and now that's about the same size. And then I say, all right, I'm going to put it here. It's the second one, radio. I go ahead and add my picture effect, my glow, right there. And boom, there it is. So now I got those two. What's left? Television. So I can do the same thing. And again, you guys are probably figuring this out. It's fairly simple just to go through, find what I'm looking for, and then place it up here. So let's go find a black and white one. There's a black and white one. Take that one and size it down just a little bit. Bring it down here. So there's my TV, my television camera. Again, add a picture effect, a glow, and bada bing, bada boom. I'm set up. So now what I've done is I've added my clip art, and it's now sitting here. Now look at how much better this is. I'll go ahead and close my task pane for the clip art. And I mean, I can still have my editing tools, my formatting tools, but look at how much more this adds to this particular slide. Local paper, radio, television, and you see the paper, the radio, the television camera, and people go, oh yeah, that kind of brings to mind what it is that you're trying to communicate a little bit better. And of course, by using and just selecting, taking your mouse and selecting the clip art, you can move it all over the page. So we could add, I could put the local paper right here, and then I could put the radio maybe over here, and then put the television right here. And so that way now it's still news, radio, television. Or I could come over here and I could say, well, I want to add space between these and space them out. So I can edit anything on my slide here to kind of create that look and feel that I'm looking for. Plus, check this out. Let's say I want to add a little bit more of a flair to this. You'll notice that I can resize by using the anchor points and do whatever I want to do with that. But I can also take my mouse, and as you saw with my text boxes, you take the anchor right here, the green anchor, which is kind of your rotating anchor. You click and hold and it changes to the arrows, and then you just move your mouse in a clockwise or counterclockwise direction, and you can change the direction of the particular slides or the object. So I can put the news like that. And so you can splash these up. Now again, I'm not a graphic designer, and I don't know if that looks better or worse. I'll let you decide. But maybe you can ask somebody that's really graphical, or a designer, and go, hey, does this look good? Or they might say, tweak that a little bit, add a soft drop shadow to it. Okay, whatever, that works. Whatever makes it look better and helps communicate is going to help me out. Now again, this is with your clip art. Now you can of course change the look of your clip art by doing things like, if I select this and I come up here to format, you can recolor it. I can say, well, this is black and white. Maybe I want to make it, with color modes. I can change it to more of a sepia tone. Or variations, I can change the color, light variations. Notice I can do auto preview. You can set the transparent color that's on it if you want. And you can do this for any one of them. You can also add the contrast. You can add plus 40%. You can go plus 10. You can take it down a little bit. Notice as I drop it, it changes the look on that, the contrast of it. I can do that. All right, that's normal. We'll leave it there. The brightness of the object. You can make it brighter, or you can make it darker. You can do little different things that you can do with just. Now this is very basic, and I want you to understand. Anytime you're doing something that requires anything more than just brightness, contrast, or recolor, you're going to need to get something like Adobe's Photoshop, or some other program that you can use. Corel, Paint Shop Pro, I think, is another program, and then you can adjust the clip art, save it into your collection, and then use it in your PowerPoint. Okay, so this is how we can add the clip art visuals here to our presentation. Now for pictures, guess what? It's pretty much going to be the same thing you saw that I did with clip art. You're just using a different media here. So if I want to, I can come down here, and I'm just going to scroll down and come down here and add a new slide here. So I'm going to come down here and add a new slide. Now let me show you something. Remember how we added the content to it? The same thing happens here. You can add content to the slide by using the add content. Now I'm not going to do that. In fact, I'm going to just, first off, I'll put a title in here. I'm going to say instrument types, because now that I've shown on my instrument types here, I might want to show people the different instrument types. So that's my title. Then I click anywhere here in the box, and then I can hit delete. Well, guess what? Now I just removed that. Now you might say, oh, how are you going to add content? Well, again, anytime you're in Office 2007, go to the Insert on your Office ribbon, the Insert tab, and here's where we can insert things. So now we want to insert a picture from a file. Now, what you're doing here is you're essentially inserting a picture that was that's out somewhere on your hard drive and in a lot of other places. So if I come up here and I say, oh wow, I want to input some pictures. Well, I can come over here, and I've got some pictures right here. Look at all these pictures of different instruments that I had when I did my Front Page 2003 series. So I've got all kinds of cool stuff that I've got right here, and I want to insert some of these pictures. Well, what will happen is any JPEG, GIF, WMF, your PNG files, anything that Office 2000 supports as a picture or graphic file will then show up right here. So let's say I want to go ahead and show my clarinets. Well, I can select my clarinets, and I say Insert. Notice the drop-down arrow. If you do this, you can insert, or I could just put a link to the file, or I can insert and link to the file. So guess what? If I manipulated this file and saved it differently as a different type of file, or if I changed it and maybe added some text to it in Photoshop and then resaved it, it will then, because of the link, it will update in my PowerPoint because I've got the insert and the link there. So that's kind of cool. But we'll just go ahead and just click and insert. So there's my B flat and A clarinets. Kind of cool. So they're inserted here, and just like clip art, look at that, Picture Tools comes up, and we can add different things to the particular area. So now what we can do is we can say, all right, look at the picture effects that we have here. We can add the glow that we had. But in this case, let's add a reflection. That's kind of cool. I like that. So I'm going to add this reflection right here. You've got the half reflection. You've got the half reflection with 4-point off. You can just do a standard tight reflection touching, or whatever you want to do. I like this half reflection. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now notice what it does is it's added this to my slide. It kind of looks like it's reflecting on the water. Pretty cool effect, huh? So I can come over here now, and I can resize, of course, because I want to get a few more instruments on here. And when I do it, it automatically adjusts my reflection. I can select with the arrows, with my 4-point arrows, and move it all over the screen. Not a problem. So we're going to put that one right here. Got it. And then I can then say, well, that's good for that one. Let's add another one. So I select over here, click Insert, click Picture, and let's say we want to add flutes. That looks kind of cool, so we insert flutes. There's my flutes. So I can resize it, get it to look, the same as this one right here. I can come over here to my picture effects and say I want to add the reflection, the half reflection. Looks good. And, and again, just kind of adjust it to the size that fits. Boom, there we go. So now I got my clarinets, I got my flutes. See how the visuals are starting to pop out and look real good? Yeah, awesome. Let's go ahead and insert another one. Go up to Picture. And this time I want, what do we want here? Let's add something a little different. Tubas. Oh yeah, gotta have the tubas. So we insert the tubas. So here we have my tuba. This one's a little bit longer, so we'll put it down right here. And so all I'm doing is I'm clicking on that insert, and then I can, just like I did with clip art, if I want to adjust anything, I just come in here and then I add whatever the image is. I can then create. Now, you'll see that with the formatting here, you can still do the brightness, the contrast, the recolor. You can add borders, picture shapes, yada, yada, yada. But you also have the ability here to arrange the picture. So if I want to maybe kind of stack them on each other, watch. When I take the flute and I move it over here, look, it's underneath the tuba. Well, maybe I want the flute on top of the tuba. Well, what I do is I need to bring it to the front. So that way it will be in front of all the other objects. So I click it and bring it to the front. Now notice it now blocks the tuba. So now it's on top of the tuba. And if I bring the clarinet over, because I said bring to the front, this is now in the front. Now I can say, no, I want the clarinet to the front. Not a problem. I can bring it to the front, or I can bring it forward one step. That's all I need to do. So I click bring forward, or I can say, hey, I want to bring it to the front and bring it on top. So you can do different things here. It just depends on what you want to do. So, or I can just say, well, I don't want them on top of each other, so I'll go ahead and just move them over, and now they show up here. So this is the way that we can do it. Now, again, I can still do the, click on here and move it, and change it. Oh, isn't that cool? It does the reflection like it's reflecting, and so it automatically matches whatever you're doing whenever you set some of these settings. So this is how we insert pictures. Now, you know what some people like to do? They like to go ahead and do a PowerPoint presentation where they fill the whole screen with a picture, and they insert picture after picture after picture, and they create new slide, new slide, new slide. That can get old pretty quick. And so one of the other features I want to show you real quickly is how you can build a photo album. Now, photo album is just a way for PowerPoint to put a whole bunch of photographs into a presentation all at once. So basically, you don't have to put any, a lot of people think photo album. Well, is this what I'm going to show my coworkers when I get back from my trip to the Ukraine or something like that? No. I mean, you can if you want to, but typically this is just a way to put the whole bunch of photos into a PowerPoint presentation, and you don't have to create the slide one at a time and then put the the text boxes next to it to caption it and describe it. Now, the way we do this is come up to Insert, and you click on Photo Album. Now, when you create this, you can either create a new photo album or you can edit a current photo album. Now, when I click on Photo Album, watch what happens. You're creating a brand new presentation that is going to then have all these pictures that we're going to put into the presentation. So when you create this, you're going to go and literally say, okay, how do you want to build this PowerPoint photo album? Well, the first thing you do is you choose where you want to get the picture from. You can do it from a file or a disk, which you just go right here and you click on it and say, oh, okay, this is where we want to go ahead and pick the pictures. And what you can do is you can select the pictures you want. So let's say we want to do the clarinets. And by the way, you can select multiple pictures by merely taking your mouse and holding down the Control key on your keyboard, and I can select the drums, the flutes, the oboe. Scroll down here. I got saxophones, I've got trombones, tubas, violins, and another violins. Oh, don't forget the trumpets. So you've got all these pictures, right? You click Insert, and what it does is it goes ahead and says, all right, here are all the pictures, and you can preview the pictures, all right here, all set up, ready to go. So I've got all these pictures, right? Now what's interesting is that you have a lot of options that you can do right here. Number one is you can actually insert text. So not only do you have the photos, but let's say you want to insert a text box. Let's say you want to put a commentary in your photo album. Well, where do you want the picture that you want your text box to go after, and then you just click the next thing. So let's say you want to make a comment about drums, you click next text box, and it'll now show up on a separate page for that. Now what you can do is we're going to see is you can actually add captions and other things to the particular unit, like the drums, or you might want to use some other things there, but you can do it. The next option is you want to do captions below all the pictures. Now this allows you to go ahead and put a picture file name under this, but you can do just all kinds of different things with this. you can select it. You can select all of them, and come down here and say, well, I want all these. You want to remove these. You can say all the pictures are black and white if you want. These are all options that you have here. Next, it's going to say, all right, well, let's say you want to move the violins. You got 2 violins. That's great. Well, let's say you want to move them to the top. You select whichever one you want. In fact, you can hold down the Shift key and select both, and then say, I want to move up. Move up, and notice now these are now at the top. These pictures are in the album. You can also remove. I've got 2 of them. Which one do I like best? This one or that one? I think this one's a better one, so I'll select this one. I click remove, and boop, there it goes. It disappears. So you're able to remove those particular pictures that you don't want. Now you can also, just like you saw, remember how we can lighten, we can add contrast, you can flip pictures and rotate them if you wanted to. You can make them up and down, upside down, and so maybe you have a picture that's landscape and you want to make it more of a portrait size, you can do that. Then we come down to the album layout. Now, there are several things for you to do, and this is, of course, the layout for the slides in the presentation. Now, you can do a couple of things. You click on the down arrow here, and you can do either fit to slide, which means that the slide, each picture occupies the entire slide. It fills the whole page. You can also do pictures option. You can do 1, 2, or 4 pictures per slide. So if I do 2 pictures, it's going to put it up. By the way, you'll notice that when I had fit to slide, it was grayed out. I couldn't do the captions below all pictures because guess what? This took up the whole slide, so there was no picture. So you can say, well, let's put captions below all the pictures. 2 pictures on each slide. This is what it's going to look like on the slide. And you'll notice now I have slide 1 will have violins and trumpets. Slide 2 will have tubas and the clarinets. Slide 3 will have baritones and drums. Slide 4 will have a text box next to the flutes. And then, so on and on and on. It'll go through and fill it out. You can then say, and by the way, there's other options here. You can do a 1 picture with the title, 2 pictures with the title. It'll put a title up at the top if you want, and that's fine. Either way, we'll just go ahead and stick with the 2 pictures. You can also say, what is the frame shape? Rectangle. Do you want to show them up as a rectangle? Do you want to do a rounded rectangle? It'll look like that. You can do a compound frame with a bevel, edge around it, soft edge, center shadow rectangle. I mean, you can do a lot of different frame shape types. So these are just some things that we can do right here. Now, the other thing you can do when you're looking at your pictures is you can change the theme itself. So I can go here and say, well, what kind of theme do I want to add? Remember the themes that we'll talk about a little bit later, because I have a background there now, I can say, well, I want the Trek theme. That looks good, so I say select the Trek theme. It will then apply that theme to my presentation, and now we should all be ready to go, right? So I go ahead and I click create. It goes dun 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 dun, blah, 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 and then it creates a whole new presentation. See, I've got 2 presentations here. I got my Acme Vision one, still here, and I got my presentation 2, which has my photo album. Now, of course, you're going to want to put some final touches on this, and depending on the options, you can have a couple of things. Number 1, the title slide. Photo album by the name that's assigned to your office is probably not the best. Again, just select in here, and we can say put my name here, probably Chris Ward. Instead of photo album, I'm going to call this Acme Instruments Catalog. Okay, so that's what I want to put at the title slide. Then watch this. When I select on my next slide, it automatically populates the caption of the picture with the name of the file. So this is violins JPEG, so it calls it violins, trumpets. Now where this becomes a problem is like here on B flat A clarinets, the name of the file is BA. Well, just all you have to do is select down here underneath, highlight it, and then type in clarinets. Okay, and then select off it, and there. You can also, when you select this, again, you get your features, your format, your drawing tools. You can do up here, select your drawing tools, and you can add stuff to this because you're literally creating a drawing space here that you can draw in and add elements, or you can do right here, this is your picture tools, you can format the picture itself. So these are different things that you can do even after you've created your photo album. Now over here, of course, we had the text box. Remember, it says add a text box. Well, it defaults to the text box that the theme that you chose would have. So here I can say, click in here, put a backspace and type in, flutes are very popular with elementary school children. Okay, all right. So now we put that, or put a pricing in, so we can make different changes here on our photo album. And so the photo album is just a really great way to do this. Now, the nice thing is, if you ever need to, edit the photo album and rearrange the pictures or anything else, all you need to do is come up again here to the insert under photo album, and you say edit photo album. I select on that, and bada bing, bada boom, here it comes back, and I can make universal changes instead of having to go back through and I want to change the theme. Well, change the theme here. You can change it there. You can change the order of the slides here. You can add more pictures. If you want, you can change all the pictures to black and white with a touch of a button, change the layout. You can do a lot of different things, and then click update, and then it will then update what you have here. So that's the photo album, another great way to visually enhance your PowerPoint presentations. Wow, probably the CBT nugget in this series you were looking forward to the most, talking about how to get the pictures and the clip art and things in. But trust me, there's even more great stuff that we can add coming up in later nuggets. But here we took a look at the clip art organizer, how we can grab pieces of clip art either in our own hard drive or out there on Office Online and use them to enhance our presentation. We saw how if we've maybe taken some photos of our products or pictures of people that we want to show, maybe you're introducing the new vice president of sales, and so you put his picture up there and add some information. How do you do that? Well, you add them from a file that you've created. Or maybe you have a whole bunch of pictures you want to create utilizing the photo album. Photo album will allow you to pre-build a whole bunch of stuff universally, and then you can go in and edit and tweak it and change it as necessary within that presentation itself. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.